Nomvuyo, the rand yesterday trading as strong as 7.20. That's the best level since early April. Back at 7.25 against the dollar this morning, but we still have that appetite for our currency in the market.
Yes, Stephen, and the rand actually dipped very briefly below 7.20 yesterday, and that was after news that both the ECB and the BOE are going to keep their respective interest rates on hold. I think the market took that as a sign that, despite mounting inflation pressures in that area, the bank's focus still remains very firmly on economic growth. And while economic growth appears to be faltering, those banks are going to maintain their asset repurchase programs and keep rates on hold, and that, of course, boosted appetite for risk.
And of course, we have been battling to sustain a break below 7.20, and that's been an ongoing theme. We had a bit of a retracement of those gains yesterday. We had some negative news coming out of China, the banking regulator wanting more stress tests on banks, particularly on their home loans. We had the US jobless claims rising unexpectedly. So it's still some risk in this in this market.
Yes, Stephen. I mean, US jobless claims disappointed yesterday, and the rand actually did then weaken on the back of that news. And of course, the risk is that if today's employment data turns out to be worse than expected, then we could expect the rand to suffer as a result.
Of course, we're looking for a loss of about 65,000 jobs for the month of July, though the private sector is expected to have created jobs because we did have those positive ADP numbers earlier this week.
Yes, Stephen. I think expectations were probably revised upwards as a result of the strong growth in the ADP employment data. But as you say, still some job losses expected there, and as a result, the official unemployment rate is expected to have ticked up to 9.6%. And as I said earlier, if the data is worse than expected, then I think we could expect the rand to retrace somewhat.
Golden Forex numbers out this morning. We have foreign currency reserves up by over $1 billion. We have net reserves up by about $500 million. Does it look like the Reserve Bank's been in the markets accumulating currency at this stage?
What it looks like, Stephen, is that the Treasury's deposits with the Reserve Bank actually increased. So it looks at this stage like Treasury is probably more active in the market than the Reserve Bank was. And we know that earlier both the IMF and the OECD have stressed the need for South Africa to accumulate reserves. So it looks like the Treasury may have taken some of that advice to heart, because they purchased about $460 million worth of reserves. That's on top of the $661 million that they purchased in June. So definitely some aggressive reserve accumulation there. And if it turns out that the data deal goes through, if it turns out that the rumors surrounding a possible buyout of Nedbank also come to fruition, then the opportunities for reserve accumulation down the line could be quite positive.
Nomvuyo, the rand from these levels, if we have a positive jobs number out this afternoon, could we break through and sustain a breakthrough that 7.20 level?
I think we might be able to break through, Stephen. Whether that break would be sustainable, I don't think is likely.